Hi, good evening. Now I have a microphone. Very welcome. In a moment, we will start with the film talk after this amazing film by Valentin Thurn, which is also going to be released in the cinema soon, so share the news. My name is Anna Ramskog-David. I am the director of the Human Rights Film Festival Berlin, and I have the pleasure to announce this talk in this wonderful, beautiful building. It's part of the Atelier Garden at Bufa, so it's a space within a space that is there to strive change, to connect activists, artists, and participants, and we are extremely thankful that we can host our film festival this year here, also last year, and hopefully next year. And your host of today is Benjamin Rodriguez Kafka from the Atelier Garden / Bufa. Please give him a welcome. He is coordinating this place and bringing all the wonderful people here together, and tonight he will moderate this fantastic talk. There is a microphone. Use it if you have questions. And now I leave the stage all to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Anna, for bringing this wonderful festival to our place here, Atelier Gardens, in the middle of the edge of Berlin. Thank you all for coming. And I'd like to welcome on stage the director of the film, Valentin Thurn. Welcome him with a big hand, please.
Hi. So here? Okay.
And I'd also like to welcome one of the protagonists, Bo Le Mentzel.
Hello.
And last but not least, Line Fuchs in Portugal via Zoom with us. Thank you so much also for finding the time to join us tonight. It's 1 hour earlier for you in Portugal, but of course the sun is no longer shining. And while I was watching the film, I was wondering, I hope that joining us today is important enough to give you electricity.
Yeah, that's true, because we have rain weather now, but it's working.
Wonderful. Yeah, so I must say it's quite exciting to sit here with after this, I think, wonderful film. Exciting, I think, also because it's not so easy for me to think of very much one could say after the film, actually, because I don't know how you feel in the audience, but I felt really touched by many things, and especially felt touched by the amazing things that the protagonists say. So somehow I feel that many of the words that you chose, to say, and you, Line, also, and the other people in the film are really very strong, and so it's difficult to put anything against that, which is of course not the intention. So, but let me maybe start by asking you first, Valentin. It's been quite some time since the film has been finished, more or less, and then COVID came, and we're now only getting the opportunity to see this film publicly. And I wanted to ask, how is it for you to see this film now after all that time?
Well, it's true that it was finished almost a year ago, and then we had to wait, and it's a strange feeling. But I think the topic, dreams and visions, is definitely a topic for this time, right now. I think we had a period, and this was actually the reason why I started this film. We had a period where, before the pandemic, we at least I had the feeling that the political system is like frozen. There was no real alternative. Everybody's well, we knew that this economic growth cannot go forever, especially because of climate change, but nobody really addressed real alternatives. And now we've seen that this old world was kind of really shaken, and the need and the feeling that we really need alternatives has been growing. And yeah, this film has been made before the pandemic, but I think it's very actual. And by the way, the interviews, we needed some time, and several times, and both of you suffered from it, that we came several times. And I think one of the reasons why they are like this were that we, instead of building up a camera and putting lights and whatever that make people nervous, it's going about very, very private feelings. We sat down and only had a microphone, no camera at that moment.
Yeah, I also felt like watching the film and thinking about what questions I could ask. That many of the questions that come to my mind are actually quite private questions, and how would it be to discuss that in a public space in a way?
Well, that's okay, because doing films is always, you start from your private. I personally, I can admit, I felt myself in a hamster wheel, not being able to look for new things, and that was actually the filming the feeling that brought me to this film, and so. If you want to talk private, we can do that.
Well, let me put the question first of all, maybe to Van Bo and Line. How was it for you to see the film?
Well, first of all, I'm very happy, Line, to see you now in private. I mean, via Zoom. Nobody could imagine, right? You flew from Germany to Portugal to do homeschooling, and 1 year after, everyone was forced to do homeschooling in Germany because of the pandemic. I think it is like an ironic moment that what you just seen on screen before COVID-19 is somehow something that a lot of people now start to do during the pandemic or after the pandemic, doing home office, try to get the work out of home somewhere in the woods, to get very far away. Like Richard Branson recently announced that he's gonna start some space shuttles to the Mars. So I think Valentin Thurn just hit a kind of like trend or a moment where we all can relate to.
Line, how was it for you to see the film?
Yeah, we saw the film as family, and it was funny for us. To see us so young and me so thick, because I lost a lot of weight the last year. So we was laughing a lot because the children are raising. Now they are adults, and 5 from our children, they are not living here anymore. They are in their own life and in Germany. And and the small ones, they are also now teenagers. So it was funny for us to see. And also what you said about homeschooling, for us, it's our normal life. And now we saw the switch in the whole world, that the people, had to, they were forced to make the same what we did. And it's an interesting time.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably that's in a way the typical experience for people who are pioneering, that you are ahead of a curve and you see something, you feel you do something, you do it, although maybe you don't quite yet know why. I just remembered this last quote of yours, Line, in the film about wood carving, and you don't yet quite know what the dream is, and you sort of find out while you're doing it. And I guess that's in a way an experience that many of us have now shared, maybe during this pandemic. Valentin, I wanted to ask you a question about maybe a little bit looking also at some of your other films. For example, your film Taste the Waste, I think one can say was part of creating a whole movement of things, like in the food sharing area, but also the Ernährungsräte in Germany that you were one of the important founders of.
Food
right?
policy councils.
Food policy councils, thank you. And so when looking at this film, I wondered from your point of view, like, what do you think is the movement that maybe you want to help start with this film?
Well, that's a little bit more complicated because this film starts with a rather psychological process from each individual. I wanted to make to give the viewers, the spectators, the feeling that it's worthwhile following own dreams, and maybe you don't have to just jump into the cold water. Do it like Van Bo, to only reduce by 30% as a first step. Maybe that's a better control, because actually it's like that. Every one of us, when heading for new aims, we fear that there might be something that makes it difficult and that we fail. But the failure, and this was one thing that I'm interested very much, the failure maybe is something that is part of really important changes. You risk something, maybe you'll fail, and then you find a new way, and then this is the right one. So, yeah. My feeling is that we need to head for what I have been shown with our 5 protagonists on an individual level. We have to also to look for new ways in the whole society. So that will be really the topic behind that, is the big need for a transition of our economy.
I have a question to you, Valentin. I know that Valentin has filmed much more than what you've just seen, because he guided 6 people, right? 1 you dropped out.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's actually, it's a pity of that, because first of all, it's a project which is not very far away from here in Neukölln, the Circular House that is actually being built right now. They came too late for the film. That's the whole problem. We're doing a TV report on that, a larger TV film, which is a pity. They could have been included here, but they were too late, and this makes a little bit of male dominance in this film, what I regret, because women obviously also have dreams and visions. And in this case, our protagonist was a woman, Alice Grindhammer. But yeah, we'll do the next one.
She gets her own feature. That's not a bad thing. But my question to you, Valentin, is, when you look and check the whole material, right? Of course, you will have some darling scenes, like favorite scenes that you love to have in the movie. Which scenes were the ones that you really regret to kill, but you did it? Which scenes were these scenes? I have some, actually. I can tell you, I really feel pity that it's not in the movie anymore.
Definitely. I have to say there was like a whole chapter we were filming with Van Bo that has been, and this is really an example for Kill Your Darling. That's what we say when in the editing suit it doesn't fit, and it's...
Which one?
The one where you were like guiding or evolving, your principle of tiny houses evolved into something bigger.
Okay.
That was I really liked, and please tell us what happened at Studentendorf Schlachtensee.
Yeah.
At that time, there was a plan to build a house, you called it co-being house, and the idea of the tiny houses was like transferred to a whole block.
Yeah.
Is that being constructed right now?
No, I'm still looking for investors. If you have like, I don't know, 3 million euros, please, let's talk. I don't know what happened actually there at the Studentendorf Schlachtensee, but I mean, we're still talking with a lot of people about realization of the co-being house.
Because I like this project because it's actually, just to explain you, the private parts of the flats are quite small, like in a tiny house, but you have a big shared space. For instance, when you want to invite somebody for eating, you need to go to the bigger kitchen that is being shared with your neighbors. And I like this more experimental way of living, though it's not just a communal space. You have your own space, you have your own small kitchen for having breakfast. So you don't need to go to the public space.
What I'm missing is actually the scenes you shot at the IKEA Parkplatz.
Yeah, that's also wonderful.
Yeah.
With the kids.
Benjamin, did you know about that project? We once squatted, well, actually not squatted because it was with permission. We squatted a parking lot of IKEA Lichtenberg, and we had like 5, 6 tiny houses over there. And we found a homeless guy who wanted to be our mayor, and we made a festival. And we invited one of the very famous politician in Kreuzberg, Friedrichshain-Kreuzberg. His name is Florian Schmidt. I don't know if he's here. He's really famous, not only in Berlin, I think in whole Germany, because he's the guy who says, no, you cannot build here. Sorry, investor, go out of my district. Florian Schmidt. And he came to our festival, and we made an interview with him about tiny houses, about housing, affordable housing, Mietendeckel, and all these political debates.
Right.
And yeah, schade, it's not in the movie.
Let's do an internet clip.
Line, I saw you nodding also when Valentin was talking about killing the darlings, and I wondered, you know, what scene, is there a scene that you missed in the film, or where you remembered making it and really loved being in the middle of that?
Yes. I don't know if you remember, Valentin, you gave us as family Taschenlampen. What's the name in English?
Torches. Flashlights.
Torches. Yeah, flashlights. And we, as family, was going with this really, perfect flashlights up the hill, and it was really dark, and the spotlights were going around, and I was missing this scene because I think it was a nice view.
Yeah, you had a lot of fun. That was visible.
There will be a feature just about that scene on TV, coming soon on Netflix. I'm kidding.
So, I mean, one of the striking things of the film, I think, is in a way how different the protagonists are. But then, of course, also the film is structured in a way that that you see how what the similarities are and how they go through similar things, like the fear, the inspiration, the failure, etc. And I'd like to ask you, Line and Bo, looking at the film and seeing the other protagonists, you know, the differences maybe, or some of the differences are obvious, I think, but how do you feel maybe, where did you have a moment of, oh, I really recognize that, I know that from myself?
As I was seeing the movie, I can feel with the others because they go through the same experience like I do, and I think we have maybe the kind of same character, because you have to be in a way to fulfill your own dreams, that it's similar to each other. So as I saw the movie, I had the feeling, okay, they make the same stuff like I did. Yes.
Well, when I was watching that movie for the first time, I was wondering how did Valentin came up with these 5 different people? how can you think that a homeschooler from Portugal can match with a guy who does tiny houses, with a guy who wants to go on Mars, with a guy who makes balloons, and a guy who makes islands? So I was wondering, is there maybe like a gathering at the end, a happy end, where we all come together in a yellow submarine and we do homeschooling together or something? I was waiting for that point, but then I thought maybe it was quite cool to have these different perspectives on dreams, because if you look at the directions of dreams that these 5 people had, everyone has dreams, but the direction was totally different. Like Line, for example, the direction of her dream was totally going into the center of the family, right? She was totally focused on the inside. And then there was this guy who wanted to go to Mars. So this is completely the other direction. And then there are like 2 guys, who wanted to go to the streets or to the sea. So it was me and Joy doing islands and tiny houses. So actually, the dreams were quite, let's say, similar, but the direction was so totally different. And that was interesting for me to see that there are people who have other dreams with other directions, because I could not imagine, to focus on my family on a, let's say, paradise-like farmland. That would not be my dream, but I can totally agree to the point that, after your surgery, you had this moment kind of like waking up and trying to do something different. So I can relate to that.
Yeah, I think maybe one of the how I read the film, it also says something like, dreaming is important, and maybe we should, as a society, also learn to, individually to dream, but also maybe to cultivate an ability to dream collectively. And I think, in a way, the film maybe gives some ideas or teaches how one can do that. And Valentin, from your own story, I'm assuming that making films is something that is close to a dream of yours, or is a dream of yours maybe. Looking at this film, what are you learning about dreaming, and listening especially to the characters that you've been able to interview during this film?
Well, actually, I can say every single film project is like these dreams. You always have a point where you think this project will be failing. It doesn't work at all. And this is the moment when it makes click and you find the right direction. If you don't have this point, you don't find it. I don't know why. It's like that. You need this, the old Greek had a word for it in a dramaturgy. Yes, but you need a point where...
Turning point?
You can say it's like a twist. You come down and sit down and think, okay, whether I fail and it's stopped or I find a solution. Maybe it's necessary. I don't know. So and I had not just the feeling that we need to. Of course, the 5 dreams, they are really different. And this was the risk. I always felt there's a risk that this film falls apart. So I needed some binding force, and this is what you do in the editing suit. You make you put the pieces together, and then you try to feel if it works or not. And the lyrics, for instance, and the sound came later, because I felt that we need some kind of binding element. But the biggest binding element is that everybody of the dreamers, they were like, there was a certain decisive force. There was, you're not doing a lot of compromises when you're really convinced what you do. That's all of you.
Yeah. Van Bo's tiny houses are actually partly here on site, and we've also worked actually together with Alice Grindhammer here on our sort of circularity idea for the whole site. So I feel somehow maybe this meeting of all the protagonists is not completely impossible, and certainly tonight already we've had some here. I'd like to open it up now maybe to questions also from the audience. So, you know, whenever you want to say something, you have a question, just feel free to come to the microphone here and address the people on the panel and Lina on Zoom. Yeah. Please maybe say your name quickly.
Yeah, hello everybody, my name is Katie. I am a freelance journalist and I'm a big fan of your films, Valentin, so thanks again for sharing your beautiful movie today again. I have a questions to our two panelists, to our protagonists that are actually with us tonight, and also to you, Valentin, but I start with the protagonists. Thank you so much for sharing your dreams with us. Sharing dreams is also very vulnerable, so thanks again for sharing your visions. And you know, having this big title here in front of us, The Art of Change, brings up the question, of course, that sometimes there is a fear of change coming into that beauty of change as well. So I was wondering, watching that beautiful movie, what keeps you going in overcoming that fear of change and in overcoming, you know, these little questions mark along the way to pursuing your dreams in the end. This goes to the two protagonists. And then, Valentin, to you, I have a question. You know, watching now the movie and, of course, talking hours and hours and hours to the protagonists, I was wondering also for you, maybe you also had questions mark. You were just mentioning, okay, there was the question mark of gluing the dreams together, but in the end, what was giving you the confidence that this is a movie that is actually working also on television, on art, for a bigger audience and not just for the dreamers in the world? Thank you.
Lina, you want to start?
Yeah, I try to live in the present, and I try also to tell myself that there is no existence like I did something wrong or this was wrong. In my experience, I just do the things and it's like it is, and I take it like it is. So I don't have fear because I know I cannot do something wrong. I just can do the things what I know in the present, and I know that I make it the best way I can. So I think this helps me to trust myself and don't look back and think, okay, this was wrong. No, it was not wrong, and it's just my way, what I take. It's my footpath I can see. And it's okay. So everything is okay what I do. And so I don't have fear that it's wrong or something like that, or that I don't fulfill my dreams. I just do what I have in my heart and believe in myself. And so I can say.
Well, before making that movie, I thought there are just like two kinds of dreams. The first kind of dreaming is, I call it a capitalistic dream. If you ask random people outside and ask them, what is your dream? If you had a 1 million euros jackpot winning at the lottery, what would you do? What is your dream? What would you do with 1 million euros? And most of the people, they would say they would buy something like a house or land with a house, and they would buy another house for the mother. Actually, it's always about buying a house. So welcome to the real estate bubble problem. you know, that's not the solution, buying a house. And we all know that it doesn't make you happy to be just in a house. You need also community. You need people who loves you. You need a lot of things, like a fulfilling, you know, activity every day. So the house is not the dream, but that's what a lot of people think. So probably this is something that, I don't know, companies tell you, advertising agencies tell you, you need to work hard to apply for a Bausparvertrag and then buy a house. And then after that house, you buy a house for your mother. So that's the capitalistic dream, okay? So that's the first kind. The second kind of dreaming is dreaming of something because of lacking something. If you don't have enough money, you dream of having more money. If you don't have enough, if you have health issues, like, I don't know, migraine or, I don't know, long COVID, then of course you dream of being healthy. So that's the second kind of dream, you know, dreaming of something because of lacking something. And now I think maybe there's a third way of dreaming. I didn't find out yet what it is, but it should be something which is independent on the first kind of dreaming and the second kind of dreaming, you know, completely feeling free. And then, what is the thing I would like to dream tonight if you had everything? Maybe going on Mars, I don't know. Oder? Wenn du Geld hast, if you have money, you have everything, you have a family and everything, then yeah, okay, why not? Going to Mars. And buying a house there. Homeschooling from Mars in a house. Probably that, I don't know.
Yeah, I think maybe that's, I mean, you're talking, I guess, about this sort of white canvas experience, right? Valentin, there was also a question to you, though.
Yeah. How do I conceive a film or get the feeling that it works? I mean, of course, it's also a gut feeling when you start, but then it's teamwork. I had a wonderful cameraman, Gerardo Milstein. I had a wonderful editor, Birgit Köster, and a co-author, Sebastian Stobbe. We're all discussing a lot about, and it's not just the film team itself. It's also, I have to say, these kind of discussions. I will do that in the next weeks as well. When the cinema starts, I'm going from town to town and start the film there. So, and then the public is discussing and giving me questions. And this is, I mean, the last round of discussions really was a part of what led me to the film. Especially the younger audience, they found everything really like cemented. I remember Angela Merkel saying, this is alternativlos, less alternativeless. I don't know if you can say that in English, so there's no alternative. And this feeling that it's like concrete came to me, blew to me from a lot of the people in the audience, so that makes me feel this is a topic that is really important at this very moment in society. It's not just our small film team, it's a bigger share of at least the audience of my films.
Yeah. Are there any more questions? Maybe there's another question from the audience. Also aware that it's already relatively late, but I think we've got another question there. Please.
Good evening, I'm Silvio. Thank you, Valentin, for showing the movie and producing, and to all the protagonists to show their courage to make their dreams, to put it in the reality. But I have a critical question to Van Bo about tiny houses. I like the idea of movable houses around the world. But in my point of view, it's still the idea of the global north, and it's a kind of privilege to choose to live in these kind of houses. And when I see, like in the global south, there are so many homeless people, or they're, having nothing. And so, what is your idea to for the future to put it more to the community?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I totally feel you, because that's exactly my opinion. Living in a tiny house in the woods, like Thoreau, or seeing a waterfall in front of my window. This is, of course, a capitalistic dream, right? It doesn't solve anything in the world, doesn't make communities better. What you just see or have seen in the movie is one part of my work. It's about like doing experiments with mobile homes. But actually, my focus of my work with the Tiny Foundation, that's an NGO that I founded recently, it's not about tiny houses on wheels. We develop neighborhoods, we develop quarters. We call it circular city, actually. And tiny houses are just one of like 7 different kinds of housing that you need for a sustainable world. And it's all about affordable housing and about diverse neighborhoods. It's very important to have, so many different kinds of people in one block, in one neighborhood. Rich people, poor people, old people, young people, single people, family people, loud people, people who are calm. So that's actually my work. If you're interested, feel free to have a watch. We have like one info board just right there. There's a window, door behind the curtain, and it's like magic. If you open the door, you will see a tiny house. And there's an infographic where I can tell you more about the work of the Tiny Foundation. It's much more than tiny houses.
Yeah, maybe there are no more questions from the audience. One last question that I have. Watching the film, I thought the protagonists in the film, I think, in a way, are, let's say, like heroes or heroines on the one hand, but on the other hand, there are also people who have, like you say, Van Bo, maybe have decided not to live the capitalist dream. So in that sense, they are maybe anti-heroes from the viewpoint of maybe mainstream society. And yet, when I look at the film, I feel inspired and at times saying to myself, I would like to be like that. I wish I had that courage. Or sometimes I also think, oh, in that moment I had a bit of courage, but this sort of aspiring to the people that are there, and I think it's a fine balance to sort of show the story of somebody and at the same time tell people, and you can do that yourself as well, or And I just wondered if maybe we could hear your maybe reflections from all of you a little bit just on this question of this balance.
You will probably never relate to all of the 5 protagonists, but that's why I've chosen them so diverse. I was quite astonished because my personal view on colonizing Mars would be, okay, let's rather save this planet instead of going to Mars. But the fascination of this is still around. A lot of people have it. And I have to say, Günther really also surprised me by first of all, he says, well, I might never go there, but I feel more happy in my life after making this decision. I have a sense of direction, and I feel more happy. Well, and that's enough already. And he gave me very interesting questions, like when we colonize Mars, do we need hierarchies? Do we need money? I mean, nobody here is asking any more these kind of questions.
Well, actually, when 2 years ago, you know, the scenes that you've seen are 2 years old. And when I said in the movie that my dream is having a society in which you don't pay rent anymore, maybe just, you know, the money you need to pay for doing Sanierungsarbeiten. What's Sanierungsarbeit in English? I don't know. Like repairing stuff, renovation, yeah. And actually, it's really a big thing now. I couldn't imagine that this would happen on this Sunday. On this Sunday, if you have a German passport, you can make a cross exactly on that dream. The dream is just to pay 4 euros per square meters for like 1/3 or half of all apartments in Berlin. It's called the Volksentscheid. And that was my dream actually 2 years ago. Now it can come true, you know, on a very like legal way. So I'm really impressed that, yeah, sometimes, you know, dreams, they come earlier than you think. So if you have the possibility and you have similar dreams like that to create affordable housing, make a cross on yes for the Volksentscheid on this Sunday.
Yeah, and actually...
Sorry, a past question. Your tiny houses, might this be the solution for homelessness? And have you actually already addressed politicians in Germany and Berlin, you said?
Well, I mean, Florian Schmidt was one of the politicians. I mean, not a real politician. He's more like a real guy who works. Of course, I mean, of course, we've talked to so many decision makers, politicians, but you have to know a politician is a kind of like a salesman or saleswoman. They try to get your vote on this Sunday. And a salesman will not sell if they promote small housing or small apartments or a reduced lifestyle. That's something that people won't vote. If you go out as a politician and say, well, we would like to make your apartment smaller, and we want to reduce your holidays. We want, you know, we want everything smaller and smaller carbon footprint and so on. This is something you will not vote. But I think that deep inside, some politicians, they feel it and they try to do it, although they won't say it in public. And about housing, yes, of course, we need to rethink the way how we design floor plans and apartments. And I totally understand if some of you say, well, yeah, but I need 100 square meters. It's totally important for me to breathe. I need big apartments, big rooms, and a big porch and so on. I totally get it, it's okay. But if you think on a global scale, this might not work out. You know, 7 billion people with a big porch, 100 square meter apartment, this totally doesn't work out. So politicians already know that, everyone knows that, and I hope after Sunday we will find some more brave architects who will really do that, trying to create nice floor plans and architecture and housing and city planning in which we come together more like we do today, but have a little bit less bigger apartments.
Thank you. We're going to come to an end. I just wanted to give Lina and Valentin the opportunity just to, you know, share whatever other thoughts you might have, and then we'll come to an end. Lina, maybe first.
Yeah, I don't know what I can say. If you are interested, you can look at our website. There you can see what we are doing, because it changed a lot. We do have now, I don't know the word in English, Gnadenhof. We have a lot of animals which we rescue and try to give them a better place and a little bit, a better life. And so if you're interested, welcome to our website. And thank you that I was part of this film, Valentin. I was surprised that you asked us, because for me or for us, it's just a normal life. And I thought, okay, why are you asking us to come in this movie? Because the guy who wants to go to the Mars, he's more interesting than we are. So yeah, thank you, Valentin, that we were part of this film. And yeah, muito obrigada, as we say here in Portugal.
Okay, in this case, I have to tell you, I will come back. I want to see how your girls evolve and what they think about homeschooling in 5 years. No, actually, first of all, we have the cinema release next Thursday. So if you like the film, please spread the word. And starting from next Thursday, I know at least one cinema, the Pfaff Filmtheater am Friedrichshain here in Berlin will play it, but probably others as well that I don't know at the moment.
Wonderful, and thank you all in the audience very much for coming here. Thank you all online for watching, and wish you a good evening, and hope to see you here again at other events that we do here at Atelier Gardens. You can check in our website and Instagram, ateliergardens.berlin, to find out more, and have a good evening. Thank you very much.